What's up, y'all? Insider Ties, episode 139. That's a lot of shows. If I was like doing it really consistently in every week like I'm supposed to be, I would probably be at like 200 episodes. But that's neither here nor there. Every week, my goal is to tell you what the biggest story was, according to me, in regard to what I've written on my website. And I know a lot of you guys that are on YouTube don't realize that I spend most of my time writing articles on the website. But what I'm hoping is that you guys will start going there to read that stuff, because I'm going to start adding job listings and a lot of different information for you guys to crack open the sneaker industry and move from just being sneakerheads to being people who work in the industry. So this week, the biggest story, period, I think, and I'm going to start playing this because there's no sound to it, but I want you guys to see this store that's opening in Detroit, or actually in East Point, Michigan. Footlocker. It's called a power store. Now, the power store concept, to me, it's very interesting. It's the idea of bringing the community in. They're creating a store that's open enough where they can host events. Now, I wrote something yesterday in regard to, and I'm going back to the store so you can see it. As you move around the store, it looks like a Footlocker store. Now, I've had a lot to say about the merchandising at stores on the website. So this still looks like a Footlocker. It just looks like a really big Footlocker. The difference is there is enough space within where you can have events hosted by the community. Now, this location in East Point, they're going to feature art that's made by local artists. There's going to be music events. It's a community-focused store. Now, there's a problem with that, and I'm going to get to that in 1 second. But this is going to be a little bit longer, but I want you guys to stay with me, man, because I want everybody to start getting a little bit more in-depth into what's happening in the sneaker business or in the sneaker culture. So, Foot Locker's opening this power store. It's going to be community-focused. They'll have events in central locations. Now, they're going to open them in key cities. These are just big, gigantic Foot Lockers. Now, let's go and look at a contrasting store opening by a brand. Nike. Nike is opening the original store, the very first store that Nike had, Santa Monica. It was opened by Jeff Johnson, which was Nike's first employee. He's also the guy that gave us all the Cortez. He sandwiched a flip-flop, the cushion between an upper and an outsole, and that's how we got the first kind of midsole for Nike shoes. I think it was an Onitsuka Tiger, though, that he did it on. Check me on that, but I'm pretty positive about that. It was an Onitsuka Tiger, which is an ASIC shoe. But Nike just opened up a new door, and it is, and there's Jeff, as you guys see me scrolling, it's a location that's going to be central to the running community. Nike's going way back, but this is what's important about it. If you look at this store, it's going to be a small storefront. It's also going to be basically, let's stop that because that was the Detroit video. I let it keep running. It's going to basically be a small hub. Nike is going small. Now, at the same time, Nike is going big, obviously, and this is from 2017. Their flagship stores are huge. The Beijing flagship store is huge. You can hoop inside of it. See what I'm saying? And then you can test yourself inside of this store. They even opened up a Jumpman in LA where you can play basketball on the roof. So Nike's going big, but Nike's also going small with the Blue Ribbon Sports. So you have Foot Locker going bigger, Nike going big. You also have Adidas with this massive new store, and this opened 2 years ago. And they have all of these features inside of it. But you also have Adidas in Chicago, and they opened up a store that had this, really small neighborhood feel based on art, and it was really beautiful. So what is up with this? Now, this is me when I went up to New York recently, and I went to Jimmy Jazz, and Jimmy Jazz has this incredible, let's close this up, and I'm probably going to move this forward, hyper local focus on their store. Now, everybody's getting to this point where they're creating these stores and they're trying to make it like they're catering to the public. I'm going to take this way back to the Footlocker store. I'm going to go back and I'm going to push play. And actually, I'm going to stop right there because this is going to be my point. You just watched all of this for me to get to this point. Sneaker retail. The kids working at sneaker retail are underpaid. Now, if you pay people more, you could get a little bit older employee where you won't have the high turnover at Footlocker. Now, you have Footlocker, and I wrote this about City Gear last week. You have Footlocker that has managers who are working these really long hours because it's really hard to get key holders and assistant managers who are consistent. Footlocker doesn't need to be opening power centers. Footlocker needs to be putting in play something that treats their managers a little bit better, that pays their employees a little bit better, that elevates the store experience right now in the stores that are already made. Nike can afford to do a blue ribbon setup because they are making a killing. Footlocker, however, has to have loss prevention, all of these different things that they have to come up with. And I think it's a little bit of a stretch. You know what I would like to see from Footlocker is the ability for a store manager to close a store for 40 minutes or 30 minutes in the middle of a day in a mall. And I don't care that it's in a mall. I'd rather them be able to close a store and let their employees get a good break, because you can't sit down when you work at a Footlocker. You can't sit down when you're the only person working in the morning from 9 o'clock until 12 o'clock when your first assistant manager or your first sales lead comes in to help you out. The focus shouldn't be on stores for Footlocker. It should be on the employees, a better system. I can't go into what Nike should do because I think this Blue Ribbon Sports is a warning shot to the whole industry that they need to listen and pay attention to what Nike is doing. Nike's going big, but more important, Nike's going small. If Footlocker actually opened up a store that was smaller, they could do a lot more with the community. I think that big space is a mistake because you have to staff that space. That's what this episode is really about. We're looking at the spaces. We're looking at what's going on, what's happening with sneaker retail. That was a lot to take in. It was all over the place. I kind of apologize for that, but I don't, because I think those of you that like looking at this kind of stuff and kind of beginning this dialogue, I think you're going to appreciate it. That's episode 139, and I will see you guys next week. Peace.